everybody, welcome back to Casey's Test Kitchen. No songs this time, I promise. Today we're going to be making a pumpkin pie, except we're going to be making it with a twist because I'm going to use coconut milk to make this pumpkin pie. What? Pumpkin pie? Yes, delicious pumpkin pie. First we're going to make a crust, and to make the crust we are going to need 2.5 cups of flour, 2 sticks or 225 grams of cold butter, a half a cup of ice water and a half a teaspoon of salt. That's all. So now we're going to make our pie crust. First we are going to put the ice cold butter into the mixer. Beautiful mixer. It's very important that the butter's cold, otherwise the pie crust isn't going to turn out flaky. Okay, so I'm just going to put my flour in there with my butter, and then all I'm going to do is put it on until the butter and the flour comes together and it forms grains. Yes, grains, sort of. Anyway, I'll show you what it looks like when it's ready. Then you'll know. Okay, so my butter and my flour have mixed, and this is what it's supposed to look like. Now all I'm going to do is put in the salt, which is half a teaspoon, and mix it a little bit. And then I'm going to put it on low speed, and I'm going to start adding my ice water until it all comes together and forms a dough. Okay, so now I'm going to take my dough, and I've put out a bit of plastic wrap here, and I'm just going to drop the dough in the middle, and then I'll show you while I do it. This is actually the first time I'm showing you guys that I actually have any baking skills to speak of. So let's hope this doesn't go horribly wrong. I'm pretty sure it won't, but you never know with baking. Okay, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to just press it all together with the dough, with the plastic wrap in the middle. It looks sort of like a cauliflower right now, but it'll be delicious, I promise. Okay, so now that I have this done, I'm just going to put this in the fridge for about an hour until it's cooled completely. So my pie crust has been in the fridge for about an hour, and now I'm going to unwrap it and roll it out. And I have my pie dish ready to put the crust in once I've rolled it out. I'm just going to flour my work surface. Take my pie crust, put it here. Flour that a little bit too, and then I'm just going to start rolling it out. It's going to be a little bit hard because it was in the fridge, but it's okay. It's still pretty pliable. I'm just rolling it, rotating it as I roll, because I want it to roll out now nice and round. So now it's all rolled out. I'm just gonna drape it over my rolling pin. Put my pie dish here, pick it up, and roll it out over the pie dish. I'm just gonna lift it and push it in instead of stretching it, so that it doesn't make holes. or stretch the pie crust out too thin. Now my pie crust looks a little thick around the edges, but in the middle it's actually not that thick. So, and look, it fits beautifully. What I'm gonna do next is I am going to cut off the excess on the edges to fit the pie dish. By all means, you can cut a little bit around the edge and then make like a fancy little finger pushed design or whatever, but my pie dish has quite a nice edge, so I don't think it's necessary. Also, I don't have the best finger pushing skills or whatever they call it. Crimping. I'm gonna take this pie dish and now I'm gonna put it in the freezer for about 10 minutes so that it can get nice and cold before we put it into the oven. So I took my pie crust out of my freezer and I have my oven preheated to 425 degrees right now, which is 200 degrees Celsius. I am going to line my cold pie crust with some parchment paper, put my pie weights in, and then I'm going to put it back in the freezer for 15 minutes so it gets nice and cold. I'm going to put this in the freezer and then I'm going to lower my oven temperature to 375, which is 190 degrees Celsius. And I'm going to leave this in the freezer for another 15 minutes before I put it straight into the oven from the freezer. My pie crust is ice cold and I'm going to put it in my oven, which, very important, I reduced the temperature to 375 Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. I'm going to put it in with the pie weights for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to take the pie weights out and put it in for another 5 minutes so that it can brown nicely. Okay, here I go. Now that my pie crust is out of the oven, it's not browned, you can see it's sort of pale still, but it's still going to go in the oven for another 35 to 40 minutes with the filling inside, so you don't want it to already be too browned. If it is too browned, when you put it in the oven with the filling, you could put a little bit of aluminium foil, metal foil, the metally foil around the edges, and then they won't burn once you put the pie crust in the oven with your filling. Okay, so now I have all my stuff ready to make the filling. I'll tell you what we are going to need for this. We are going to need 1.5 cups of pumpkin puree, 3/4 cups of brown sugar, 1.5 cups of coconut milk, 3 eggs, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, and 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now we're gonna mix it all together in the nice big glass bowl, like a DJ. Anyways, I'm gonna put it all together in my bowl. The pumpkin puree just bounced into the bowl. That's how much it wants to be in my pie right now. Okay, sugar, all this good stuff. Yum. Spices, coconut milk, oh right, I forgot to tell you guys, I made my own pumpkin puree, and you can find a wonderfully delightful video on how to make pumpkin puree yourself. I can't get canned pumpkin puree where I live. Whoops. I also forgot to tell you guys that I'm going to put a little bit of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon, into the mix jar. Just for some extra flavor. I'm going to crack my eggs. I'm not a pro. I can't do it with one hand. So I'm just going to do it the awkward and difficult way. it's not awkward or difficult or long at all. I'm just gonna mix it all together until everything is incorporated. Then I'm going to pour it into my pie crust. And I reduced my oven temperature to 350, which is 175 degrees Celsius. Oh my gosh, this one egg won't break. Okay, so my mixture still has some lumps in it because I made my own pumpkin puree and it was still a little bit lumpy. So what I'm gonna do, and you can totally do this if this happens to you too, is I'm gonna take my hand blender, mixer, and I'm just gonna blend it until it's nice and smooth. Okay, now I'm just gonna pour it all into my pie crust. I'm sorry if I said okay too many times in this video already. So easy. Easy peasy. Now my beautiful pumpkin pie, which already looks stunning, is ready to go in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes until it's set but still a little jiggly in the middle, as all good pumpkin pies are. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's ready. Look at this delicious pumpkin pie. It's all ready and I let it cool for about an hour and a half, but it's still a little bit warm. So I'm gonna cut it and I'm going to taste it because I cannot wait to have this pie in my mouth. Okay, let's get a slice. It's nice and dense, like a proper pumpkin pie should be. Because it's still warm, it's not completely set yet, so it will set a bit more. Just want to tell you guys that. I'm gonna screw up this whole pie now when I try and take this out. I can see it happening. Please, please. Oh wow, that went surprisingly well. Look at how amazing this looks, and it smells so coconutty and very pumpkiny. And I'm gonna put some whipped cream on and then I'm going to have a taste. Oh, I can't wait. Some cream, some pumpkin. Yum! Best pumpkin pie I have ever had in my whole entire life, even though I've only had it twice. Yum! If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up, please. See you next time.